Hello and welcome back to Podcasting for Educators. I hope you are having a wonderful week. I know for me, the holidays have been on my mind, and I think there's kind of two types of people in the world. You have those who immediately begin celebrating Christmas right after Halloween, and then those who wait until after Thanksgiving, right? I mean, I feel like this is the hot debate this time of year. You've got all the memes going around on social media about it, and people just have really strong feelings about this subject. For me, on November 1st, I am ready to get out the Christmas decorations. I freaking love this season. Turn on my fireplace, cheesy Hallmark movies. I am 100% here for it. My husband, on the other hand, is the total opposite. He refuses to participate until after Thanksgiving has come and gone. And we get a live Christmas tree, so we can't even get it super early if we want it to survive the season. But you better believe that on November 26th or 27th, we will be the first in line at the Christmas tree farm, and I can't wait. I know that many of you don't celebrate Christmas, but regardless of what you celebrate or when you begin to celebrate, I hope that during this holiday season, you're giving yourself time to rest because we all need that. The holidays are a time that always sneak up on us, and because of that, it can be a time that podcasters really get behind. They get bombarded with all of the things going on this time of year, and then their podcast kind of gets put on the back burner. And so today, I want to give you some ideas to help you get ahead for the month of December so that your podcast doesn't feel like a burden for you during this season. Welcome to Podcasting for Educators, the podcast that helps TPT authors and other online educators launch and grow their show. I'm Sarah, former elementary school teacher turned podcast manager, and I'm on a mission to help you get your podcast out and into the ears of those who need it most. Busy teachers, counselors, literacy specialists, SLPs, parents, and everyone in between. Each week, we'll cover quick tips, strategies, and podcast industry updates so that you can be on top of your podcasting game and gain some new customers along the way. Are you ready? Let's get to it. So a couple of weeks ago, I sent out an email to my clients letting them know the dates that I would be taking off for the holidays. And then I also gave them some ideas on how to prep for this time as a podcaster. And it gave me the idea that I really wanted to share this message with you all too. So I don't know your specific situation with your business, but for me, last year, I worked way too much during the holidays. And I felt like I didn't get to enjoy them at all. I felt like I missed out on all kinds of family time and all of the fun things that we usually do this time of year I didn't get to do. And those are the times that I really missed having that 2-week winter break as a teacher. And I realized, and I constantly have to remind myself, that I started my business for more flexibility, more time with my family on my terms. So the fact that I was working a lot last year over the holidays, I mean, it was my fault, but I couldn't believe that I let it happen. And so this year, I'm really trying to get ahead on what I want the holiday season to look like for me and for my business, because I think that this is a really important time of year to rest, to reset, to spend time with family, and just to kind of take a pause. And I want that for you too. I want that for my clients. I want that for you. I want that for everybody. I'm very hesitant to use the term self-care because I find it kind of cringy sometimes. I think it's way overused. I think the definition of self-care is kind of twisted. But on the other hand, that is a lot of what this season is about. And I know that some of you are in the classrooms, you're in the schools, and you're doing a podcast. And if that is you, you're a rock star, seriously, especially with the conditions of this school year. I know that it's been a really tough year so far for all of you. And so this break, this winter break, Christmas break, whatever you call it, is particularly important for you. So I want to give you 5 ways that you can prep your podcast for the holiday season so that You're able to plan in advance, and you're able to take that time off for yourself and for your family. Okay, so number one is that you can re-release one of your most popular episodes. So what you can do is go into your podcast host, whoever you use, and look at your downloads. And depending on who you use for your host, usually you can sort them by like your top episodes and it'll list them out for you. So take a look and pick out like maybe your top 3 episodes, and then you can choose from there which one you want to re-release. And anytime that you re-release a popular episode, I always recommend recording just a super quick intro that tells people why you're re-releasing it and just letting them know that this is an episode that you've aired before. And you can mark it as a regular episode, like number it as a regular episode, or I know that in Libsyn, you can actually mark bonus episodes as a bonus episode. And so you don't have to number it. It will just label it as a bonus. Okay, the second thing that you can do, this is probably my favorite and the one I'm most excited about for people to try, is a podcast swap. And what that looks like is you would team up with another podcast host. Now, you want to find a show that's complementary to yours. So maybe you are somebody who supports school counselors and you have a friend who's a teacher and they're really great at behavior management, classroom management. That would be a great podcast swap. And what that would look like is you would take one of your episodes and the other host would take one of their episodes and you would send the audio files to each other and you would air their episode on your podcast. And again, you'd want to make sure that you record a new intro, kind of telling your audience what they're about to hear, which podcast it is, how they can find the host. And this is really great for a couple of reasons. One, it's super easy for you to prepare. It's an episode that's already recorded. The only recording that you and the other person have to do is an intro for it. Second, it's a nice mix-up for your audience. It's something new to kind of keep things fresh for them as a listener. And 3, the biggest thing is that it's going to give both of you exposure to a brand new audience. And in the example that I just gave with a podcast episode on classroom management and a podcast episode from a school counselor, swapping those episodes will allow school counselors to hear some classroom management strategies, which is going to be great for them when they do whole class lessons. And classroom teachers or any other kind of teachers who normally listen in to the classroom management podcast, they're going to be able to hear the perspective of a school counselor. And that might help to bridge any gaps between school counselors and teachers. And again, it's another way to get in front of a new audience. And whoever's listening might know a friend who would like to listen to this podcast. So it's just another great way to get exposure. Okay, number 3 is to do a 2021 recap. So this could look like a lot of different things. You could do an episode talking about your business in the past year. You could talk about your experience in the classroom if you're still in the classroom, because goodness knows, I bet you've got a ton of stories about that. You could also talk about your goals for the new year. Or another really fun way to do this would be to invite a friend who's like in a similar space as you, invite them on to co-host an episode with you. And you guys can just have it kind of like a fun 2021 recap episode. This is a kind of episode that you can either make really like light and easy and fun, or you can make it really personal and inspirational. There's so many options, but it's fun to kind of mix up the kind of content that you're giving to your audience, as long as it still aligns with who your audience is. All right, the 4th idea I have for how you can prep your podcast for the holiday season is to plan an episode around a holiday or a New Year resource that you have. So this is directed to those of you who are TPT authors, and I am sure that you've got some sort of holiday resource, or a New Year resource might even be a better option if you're going to air this episode in December. You can go ahead and be thinking about what your audience might need that first week back from winter break. So for this, you can kind of think about it backwards. So pick a resource that you want to talk about and then think about a pain point that it solves for your audience. And that pain point is the topic of your episode. And then in your episode, you're going to offer them the solution to their pain point and the resource to help them implement that solution. And this could be a paid resource or it could be a freebie that you have. All right. And then number 5. Okay, I said that number 2 is my favorite, but this is a good one too. This is for those of you who get to December and you are burnt out, you are done, and you just need a break from it all. You need a break from everything, including your podcast. Are you ready for it? Number 5 is to skip a week or skip 2 weeks or skip 3 weeks of your podcast. Will it still be there when you're ready in the new year? Yes, it will be. Will your listeners still be there? Yes, they will be. Sometimes you just have to know when to hit the pause button and when you need a break, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world if you miss an episode. So if you have toyed with this idea and you just needed a permission slip, consider this your permission slip. My only thing that I'll say about this is that if you are going to make a conscious plan to maybe skip episodes for 2 weeks, just let your listeners know. So if your last episode is going to be on December 15th and you're not going to return until January 3rd, then on that last episode in December, just let them know. I would say it at the beginning of your episode and just say, hey, I'm taking a break for the holidays and I will be back on X. Make sure you let them know what date they can expect a new episode to come out. And then you can encourage them to go back and re-listen to some of their favorite episodes in the meantime. Alrighty, so to recap, the 5 ways that you can prep your podcast for the holiday season is to 1, re-release a popular episode, 2, do a podcast swap, 3, do a 2021 recap episode, either by yourself or with a friend as a co-host. Number 4, plan your episode around a holiday or a New Year resource. And number 5, skip a week or a couple weeks of episodes. I hope that this was helpful for you. And my challenge for you is to batch whatever episodes you're planning to put out in December. I want you to batch them by the last week of November so that you can be done and you can put your energy towards other things and actually enjoy the holiday season. I know that that's my plan. I would love to hear from you and hear what your plan is for your podcast around the holidays. And if this episode gave you some good ideas, I would love if you shared it with a friend. Have a fabulous rest of your week, and I will see you in the next episode. If you have any questions or takeaways from this episode, send me a message on Instagram at Podcasting for Educators. I'd love to hear from you. All links and resources mentioned can be found in the show notes at podcastingforeducators.com. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Bye for now.